Hi everyone, it's Pam at Pink Dragonfly Wingz today, here back with another project, and this project is so much fun. Uh, what we're going to do is I'm going to get some of this stuff out of the way. I made it look pretty for the picture, but for now we need that out of the way. We are going to make some of this paper. It is a Japanese paper that has been strengthened by kneading, and I mean kneading like you would knead bread, not knead like I need you to be here. Kneading Konnyaku starch. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not, but that's as good as this Texas girl can do. Anyway, you knead this starch into the fibers of the paper to strengthen it and make it kind of like fabric. And so, you can see here so this is some pieces that I've already done. So I thought I'd just kind of flip through here real quick. Now, some of these are pieces when we first started, my husband and I helped me knead the papers. And we had absolutely no idea how long we needed to do that. I have since learned that you don't need to do it as long as we did, because we just kind of kneaded the heck out of this paper and we ended up with lots of holes and lots of tears and all that kind of stuff. So we don't have to do it that much. But I have a few pieces in here that are done that much. So I have some really cool papers in here that I've done. And some of these papers are like this one. Several of these pages are digital papers done by Louisa Handel. Y'all know I love Louisa. And so I have done these, and these are done with oil. And I've experimented with some different kinds of oil. Isn't that pretty? Now, this is one of the ones we needed and needed it to death. Bless its little heart, it just fell apart. Here's some cool digital papers that she did, and it just makes it look so awesome. So here's another one from Louisa. All these I think probably are. And this is from her. You can find these on her Etsy shop. And you can find her Etsy shop by searching for Louisa Handel, LuiseHienzel, I think. I'm not sure. I'll link it below so you know how to spell it. Or you can go to Junk Journal Art. So, but anyway, these are some of her cool papers that my husband and I have kneaded and worked with, and I haven't really made anything with them yet, so I'm going to see how it works. I'm kind of worried, that the oil in it may not stick very well, but we'll see. People that I've talked to said that after a while, the oil kind of soaks in and you don't notice it. Look at those beautiful butterflies. This is another one we needed a while. And this one, bless its little heart. But that's okay. We can always use them. This is another piece. It's a piece that I used in a project here a while back. So I made a little this little pocket out of an envelope. And so I used what was left over from that. Now, these are journal pages, and I think they're just way too greasy and oily, but I thought maybe I'd keep them and see what happens to them. And then I have some of these pretty papers, and they just look so vibrant and pretty. These are not Louisa's. I'm not real sure where I got those, but anyway, that's what we're going to make today. And so we're going to make some Momigami paper, kind of like origami, but this is kneaded paper, not folded paper. So let me find a place to put those. And Don't know why I kept that one. And I found a really pretty piece of paper in my stash. It's not in my stash, but one of the journals that I'm going to make is a dark forest journal. And I found these papers and I really liked it. And I thought, well, I'm going to use one of these full-size pieces of paper to do the Momigami with. So that's what we're going to do today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start folding our paper. And they say you don't have to fold it, but I fold it because you're going to fold it so many times, it's not going to make any difference. And so I kind of crease it down. This is just a kind of, this paper that I used is like a 34 weight paper, and so it's a little thicker. It's not as thick as cardstock, but it's thicker than regular printer paper. And I just do it over and over and over and over and over. And I do it from every direction so that I can kind of get the paper loosened up a little bit. And then I'll turn it over and we'll fold it this direction for a while, roll it up, and scrunch it. I just scrunch it while I'm going. And the purpose of this is to kind of loosen up the paper so that it doesn't tear on the sides. So you want your paper to be kind of, you're kind of weakening it right at this point. But that's okay. We're going to keep working on it, and we're going to keep working on it. Now, I haven't put anything on it at this point. So, once I get this all done, okay, so we're all kind of wadded up, kind of lengthened and softened a little bit. Okay, so it's all wrinkly. Now, I use this jojoba oil. You can use grapeseed oil. You can use coconut oil. You can use olive oil. I've even seen some done with conditioner, hair conditioner, different kinds of things. Now, I bought some of this stuff. It's Shea Moisture for Men, and it smells heavenly. It smells so good. And I like it because it's, but it's kind of a, well, I don't know what you call it. The word just left me. But it's creamy. It's not like oil. And so I've used this on a lot of my papers. And I really like it because I like the smell. So, but I'm not using that today. Today we're going to use the jojoba oil. And so now we're ready. And you just put a little bit on your fingers. We're going to rub it into our hands. And then I'm just going to kind of spread it out on this paper. And just kind of put some into the paper fibers. Turn it over and put a little bit on this side. Okay. And then we're just going to start scrunching it up. And when you finally get it pliable enough, then you can start rolling it up in this little ball and squeezing it. Now, I just kind of roll it off on my hands here, and I squeeze and squeeze. And then you can unwrap it. Smooth it out just a little bit. See, I've already got a little tear right there. But that's okay. And then we're going to turn it over. We're going to go from this direction. And we're just going to keep on squeezing and kneading and squeezing and kneading. Let me take my glasses off. It's hard for me to get into it here. So we're going to do this. And then we'll we'll open it up again. And if you think you have enough oil on there, that's cool. If you don't think you have enough oil on there, because what your goal is on the back or on the front either. It's just easier to see on the back. We want this whole piece of paper to eventually be covered with the oil, have the oil soaked in. So I'm going to put a little bit more on my hands, rub them back in again. And you keep on doing this. Goodness, excuse me. I have a runny nose today. Allergies. I'm back in Texas, so my allergies are back. But that's okay. Keep opening it up. Fold it out. Smooth it out a little bit. Do it again. Pay attention to where your crinkles are coming, because you really, really want it to be really wrinkled, really wrinkled. And you can check it each time you unfold it to see how it's doing. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about that page, that little tear there. Okay, and you can see how much more vibrant the colors are. The colors just get so deep and so pretty when you use this oil on them. And you just keep kneading and kneading. And still keep compacting it, because you want it to compact. And it is beginning to less now, but it is beginning to lose that sound of crunching paper and beginning to sound. Let's get a little bit more right here and put it on this corner. And you hear how it's not crinkling quite as much. It's beginning to sound a little bit more like fabric. Our little ball is getting smaller. I do that about 10 times, 15 times or so, and then I unfold it. And that's the thing about this. It gets very vibrant in color, and it gets smaller. It shrinks. So I'm going to do it again, and we're just going to keep doing it and doing it. And each time, and it's really good exercise for your hands. So my husband, I got several of these made up when I was making those. And at night, when we were watching TV, I put them in one of those plastic, like Walmart sacks or little trash sacks or something, and I took them into the living room, and he and I sat there and watched TV and kneaded on paper. Just be careful. As this starts tearing, you may be getting done. Okay, so let's do it again. And keep on doing it, and just roll it off my fingers. And it's really kind of relaxing and kind of soothing. You put on a little music and just knead to your heart's content. Fold it back out. Now I want to show you, here is a full 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock that I had sitting there. This started out at 8.5 by 11. See how much it has shrunk. It has shrunk down quite a bit. So it's going to get smaller. So if you need a bigger piece, then be wary of shrinkage. Be careful about what kind of paper you use. This is just paper that I printed on my inkjet printer. The ink has not had any kind of interference whatsoever with the ink on on the paper. It doesn't make it run or anything. And then you can just kind of smooth it out. Now, I have ironed some. I don't want to iron the wrinkles out, but I do want the paper to be flat. But I want those wrinkles, those crinkles in there to stay in there. So we can do that. And there we go. We have our little paper. It probably could go a little bit more. We could put just a little bit more. And oh my gosh, this oil is awesome for your hands. It is just, it's just a really nice little project, little procedure. And you know, you make, like I said, I made them and I rolled them up into these little balls and got them to where they were at least in the ball. And then I dropped all these little balls in the sack, and then my husband and I just got them out. And like I said, sometimes we lost track of time and how many times we'd done them, and some of them were like little shreds when we got through. So it's been a progress, a project in progress, I should say. So on how we have learned how to get better. And then what I intend to do is use this on some fronts of tags or pockets or things in my journal. And you can see that all of the little white pieces, there's still a little bit down here in this corner, but we'll keep kneading a little bit and get that to do. But I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me keep kneading and kneading, because you kind of know the process here. So, and then that's our little paper. And then I have my little handy dandy iron here, and I just lightly touch it. I don't rub it. I'm not trying to, you're not going to rub it like this. And I wait until the oil has soaked in for a while. I don't do it right immediately like this, because the oil is still working on the paper fibers and things. And so I don't want it to. So I don't do it like this. I just sit and kind of do it like this. And go across it until I finished it. And then it just kind of, it still has a little bit of water in it. It just kind of gives it a little bit more shape, I guess. So when you get ready to start working with it, the lines and edges are a little more straight. And when you cut it, you don't end up with something looking like an octopus with tentacles hanging out. So anyway, there we go. That is that. And this piece that I did was a smaller piece. It was a piece that I'd printed, and it was a much smaller piece. I think it was like I don't know, half a sheet or something. But I intend to use these in my journal, so you'll probably see these papers come back again. I'm not going to use them in a project right now because I'm planning another video for that. But I want to let them soak. They're not ready to use right now. This one is. But this one is not ready to use yet. That oil has got to seep in and start working its magic. But hear how it sounds, and it's just like fabric. It looks and it feels and it sounds like fabric. And we can knead it about 3 or 4 more times and it'll be perfect. So that's how you make Momigami paper. Now, I have this little guest check here, and I thought, well, I wonder what would happen if I did that. Use it on the front of a tag or something. So I think I'm going to tear this little perforated part off of the bottom of it, and I'm going to see what happens. It may totally fall apart, and if it does, that's cool. But let's see how it works. And then we'll do another one the other direction. And this is just kind of getting the paper limbered up, and it really does help cut down on the edges cracking and breaking and that kind of stuff. but I don't think I've quite figured out how to get it to not do it at all. So, but we just want to get it all softened up a little bit, and then we'll start scrunching it in. It's going to be a little bitty ball, but we'll see how it works. And it might not be something you'd want to use, but it might. You just never know. You can use any kind of paper, any kind of pictures or whatever. Magazine pictures work really well with it too. Book pages. The really, really thin ones don't seem to be, to me, don't seem to be as effective as some of the thicker book pages. But book pages tend to be kind of brittle anyway, so you kind of have to be careful that they don't rip and tear on you. But one of the key things is to get this started and roll it. And you know, some people fold in the edges and scrunch it. You've got to find your own way of what feels good and what works for you as far as how to do this. This one doesn't take nearly as much oil as the bigger pieces do. And okay. Now this one is, maybe because of the paper, the kind of paper it is, it's getting some holes in it. But oh, and I just tore the corner off of that. That wasn't from the kneading. I just pulled on it too hard. And so let's knead it a couple of more times. It doesn't need quite as much as the bigger pieces of paper because there's just not as much to get caught in there. So we can do that. And see how that's going to work. Okay. So let me get the pack of those and let's kind of see how much it is shrunk. Not as much as the other, but it is shrinking some. Of course, we tore that off, so. But it is shrinking some. So it's a little bit on this side and a little bit on that side, a little smaller. And then we can use, let's get some, I have too many things going at one time here. Let's get some distress ink or distress spray and spray it on here. And let's see how this works. Let that dry just a little bit, and we'll knead it some more. And see how that works. And that would be kind of cute to put on the front of a tag. Let's see if we have another. Let's see how this lilac looks. Okay. And I don't really have a problem with getting ink all over my hands and everything. So I know some people use gloves and that kind of thing. But this paper is deteriorating very quickly. So maybe I shouldn't do anymore. It's like falling apart. And I think it's just probably because I put that ink on there and the ink is kind of water soluble. So I would call that one a fail. Would you call that a fail? But it would be cute. You could use the papers and tear the papers once they dry and use them in clusters and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't know that it would really work as a big sheet because the water really breaks down the paper. So I think that probably is not going to be a good idea. But we'll just go ahead and tear it apart, and I'll put it in my little bucket that I keep to keep all of my cluster fabrics and papers and things in. And we'll let it dry really good. We'll see how it does. Might work for collaging and that kind of thing. But that's kind of how that worked. And here's our paper that we did today. So get you some pretty digital paper, any kind of paper. Try it on anything. We found out that the guest check ticket doesn't work very well, but I think it's because of the consistency of the paper. And so try it on different things. See how it works. See what you think. Let it dry for a few days, and then we can use it to make pockets, make tags, to do whatever. Be sure and check back with me, because I am going to do a video of things that I've made with some of my paper that I've made. So we'll see how that works. Anyway, so if you like what you see, then please check, like, and subscribe to my channel. And let's get this thing going. And you can also check out my website. It's at www.pinkdragonflywingz with a Z on the end.com, and see what kinds of things that we have in there and kind of go from there. Maybe I can put a few of these little pieces of paper in there and see how people like that. So, but anyway, thank you for joining me today and coming on this little trip. And until next time, bye-bye.